Parents of gay children, did you know your child was gay before they came out? My cousin is a lesbian. When she sat her mum and stepdad down to tell them something, my uncle in all of his tact and brilliance said, "You're either going to say you're pregnant or gay, and I'm 99% sure you're not pregnant." No malice in it at all. And when she confirmed she was about to come out, she got a big hug from both of them and told how proud they were of her for having the courage to tell them, etc. Would have been 10 times better if your cousin was a dude. When my friend came out, he said, "Mom, I think I'm gay." His mom replied, "You're the only one who's not absolutely sure you are." Plot twist. He was just joking. My mother thinks I am gay. She always has thought I am gay. I have no idea why she thinks this. I am a normal everyday dude who doesn't have a girlfriend. I think she wants me to be gay so she can be the accepting cool Christian mom. It is really annoying. She has caught me looking at tea and naked women, but yet she still thinks I am gay. Frick a chick on her bed. Brother of lesbian. I've known since she was probably 10-11. She was always tomboyish, but when my highly acclaimed collection of Jenny McCarthy Playboys came up missing and then later found under her mattress, I knew. Didn't care either. I freaking love my sister. When I told my brother, he laughed and said he'd known since I was 11/12. Apparently my first crush, and I confided in him then. No recollection, but he waited all that time, approx 13 years, for me to tell him. What a bro. My mom knew. I used to hold my gizmo doll by the hand and swing around the porch post singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow in my sister's ruby slippers. Interestingly, I'm not the type to cross-dress, but yeah, she knew. I didn't need the handful of replies telling me that dressing up and singing don't make you gay. As it is, I am gay, which I guess wasn't clear for some of you. My parents always focused on the fact that they thought my sister was a lesbian. Then I flew under the radar, and they were shocked when I came out. I always had so many girlfriends. Haha. My mother worked out my best friend was gay when we were about 15. She said he seemed very feminine and flamboyant. Up until then I hadn't noticed. He came out on the last day of high school. My time has come. When I was about 16, I decided to come out to my family as bi, so I sauntered into the kitchen like I always do, only this time I felt a small stammer to my steps. I stood in the kitchen and said, "So, I'm bi." This prompted my mother to stop doing dishes, my brother to pause his video game, and my dad to look up from the kitchen table. Then they all look at each other, exchanging multiple looks until my dad breaks the silence with, "That makes so much sense. They are incredibly supportive of everything I do." I knew my son was gay as soon as he was born. He came out 2 months premature and nearly killed himself doing so. When he was in that little box with tubes keeping his tiny body alive, he had that look of satisfaction on his face, like he was just happy to not be near a vagina. Hasn't been as close to 130 years later. This answer is hilarious and awesome. Good on you for coolness. Not a parent, but I know for a fact, source, my mom, that the mother of a friend of mine growing up was so convinced her son was gay that she basically begged my mom to have me hang out with him in order to straighten him out. I only knew the kid until about 4th grade, then they moved away. I never saw him again. Years later, a mutual friend who'd kept in contact with his family told me he was, in fact, gayer than all get out. I told my mom, and that's when I found out about being the straight friend. You failed. Turns out your task was impossible, and you may as well have been asked to make him Japanese. As long as you gave it your all, that's what matters. My aunt is lesbian. My grandmother said she was making my aunt's bed when she smelled the pillow, and it just hit her. "This smells like a man's pillow." Your grandma has lesbian especially. Make sure she uses her powers for good. My mom always knew. I never even bothered to come out to her. Growing up, I enjoyed playing with Barbies and My Little Ponies. She likes to tell a story of when she knew for sure was when I was in 2nd grade and there was a boy I obviously had a crush on and how differently I treated him from the other boys. It's just something everyone in my family accepted and was never made a big deal. Playing with My Little Pony now could just symbolize that you could be a future neck but really odd fellow. Mine did. Sure as heck wish they'd have told me. That'd have made the early teens before I figured out myself a lot less awkward. Son, you're gay. Okay. My son always says he is going to marry a boy, or I love this boy. He hasn't come out yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. Sort of. When I tried to sneak him a stack of Playboys when he was 13, he didn't want them. That turned out to be a pretty big clue. If either one of my parents tried to sneak me a stack of Playboys at 13, I would probably say I didn't want them either. Not a parent, but my identical twin brother is gay and I didn't know until he told me when he was 22. Our parents didn't know either, he told them later the same year. My identical twin brother is gay. This makes you automatically gay too. My grandmother is absolutely convinced I'm gay. I'm sure of it. She's tried to casually bring it up the past 3 times we've talked. Last time she asked if a friend of mine, getting married soon, were 2 boys, boy and girl. What, because that's a thing down in Colorado? Now, you live on Cape Cod. Graham, you should know gay people exist by now. Though this is coming from the woman who had to spread the shock and gossip that my sister was dating a half Mexican. I have half a heart not to disappoint her. I'd make a good gay uncle, I think. Not his mom, but my mom knew my friend was gay when we were 7. She tactfully told me her suspicions, not in a judging way, when we were teens, and told me to not say anything. I didn't believe her and thought little of it. College comes around and yep, gay. Not a parent, but my dad told me he strongly suspected long before I came out. Actually, one of his gay friends warned him I might be when I was 5, after watching me play with other kids. My son is 14 and came out about 6 months ago. I knew there was a possibility he was gay from a very young age, and I knew with all certainty when he was 10. I'm so glad that we live in a world where he hasn't had to hide his orientation. He did encounter some homophobic bullying at school, but this was very quickly dealt with. In July my son will be a representative gay student at a Stonewall event, and I'm so proud of him. Not a parent. I recently came out to my father. Yeah, there were tears involved and it was heart-wrenching for me. He ended it with, to be honest, I'm not surprised and no matter what I'll always love you. Most people think I'm straight when they first meet me, so it was interesting to hear that from my pa. Have a feeling my parents might know. When they do find out, I am sure they'll be affected by a hindsight bias at the very least. I don't wear it on my sleeve or anything, but in some ways I am a bit of a stereotype and don't think it's very hard to make me. A few friends had actually said they, or their SOs, strongly suspected it, but figured I'd tell them when I was ready. Yes, my daughter's mom and I knew many years before she decided to come out to us. I think it kinda pee her off that we weren't more surprised. We were very supportive though and still are. I love my little girl. Gay child of parents here. They knew. At least I'm 90% sure that they knew. I mean, if tumbling around the living room listening to Britney Spears isn't a sure sign, I don't know what is. I remember my mom just asking me once, but I was young and in denial. Gay child of parents. Good one, bub. Don't try to pull a fast one round here. We're pretty sharp. Anyway, congrats on being gay and all. Not me, but a friend. When being given the talk from her mother, my friend basically said no. That doesn't sound fun. The mom didn't have any clue before, but supposedly when she told the dad he responded with, well, of course. You didn't know that? My little sister's a lesbian. I knew. Don't think my parents did. They were super accepting and stuff, if a little shocked, but I've known literally all my life. Not my child, but my old best friend and his parents. He didn't come out until his senior year of high school, but his parents knew he was gay because his stepdad, who was a computer genius, had some sort of software on his computer that would take a picture every second of what was going on his internet connection and send it to a mailbox which he checks frequently. No privacy at their house. My friend started watching Gay P in middle school, so since then his parents just played the waiting game. He even had a girlfriend at one point, but I am still glad he eventually came out one way or another. Not a parent, but I pretty much raised my younger brother from the time he was 4-7 since our parents weren't really around. My brother just came out less than a year ago and was so nervous to tell me. I wasn't shocked in the least bit. He's always been a bit flamboyant, but that's just his personality. just goofy. He's 13 now, and actually just told me today he got his first boyfriend. When he finally decided to tell our mom, her reaction was just like, "Oh, you sure? Well, thanks for telling me," and she's super awkward about it. Her boyfriend's reaction was to start hating my brother because he was raised to dislike gays and won't change. Our dad's reaction was, "Oh, good for you, son. So why didn't you tell me sooner?" My cousin is gay and came out recently. My uncle knew before he came out. Everyone in my family really knew before he came out. I want to know how a situation like that unfolds. Mom, Dad, I have something to tell you. I'm gay. Yeah, we know. Now go take out the trash. My mother used to do neighborhood babysitting out of our house. Usually the kids were pre-kindergarten, so around 3-4. She babysat this one family with 3 kids, a girl and 2 boys. One of the boys talked in a lisp with the same mannerisms that a girl would, often wanted to wear women's clothing, and generally hung out with the females more than the males. I always thought to myself that he might be gay, but at 3-4 is that even possible 15 years later and the kid is 100% gay, and I have no problem with it. He was a cool dude. It's moments like these that make me really question those people that say being gay is a choice. This kid was so young and innocent, and never knew any different. I had a hindsight holy crap, you are gay moment when my sister came out. My parents were shocked for a while, but my shock lasted about 20 seconds. When she told me she had to tell me something, I thought she was going to say she had cancer. Then the words came out. My first reaction was anger because I thought something was wrong with her and I told her as much. Then I had a flashback to her going to church a lot, way more religious than my parents, no boyfriends, not many dresses, always asked me questions about my gay friends, developed a far right-wing stance on politics, finally started dating a much older guy, with kids, when she was in her late 20s. He was a very nice and safe man to start a family with, which she always wanted, and there were a bunch of smaller things. This thought track took about 15 seconds. At this point she was in her mid-30s and had 2 young kids with her husband. So after about another 30 seconds of me being so happy for her, we started strategizing on how to navigate a divorce and tell our parents. I told her I could get a shirt made that said "Nobody knows my sister is gay" and we could visit them. She decided to tell them herself several months later after she broke the news to her husband. We had some confusion within the family but zero real issues. Everyone was very supportive. My mom, surprisingly, kept asking, "Well, what about your husband?" for a few weeks before she got it. My sister's husband, who previously never went to church with her, turned into a church-going, judgmental butthole who told her she was going to heck for her lifestyle. My sister is now in the most loving relationship with her wife, whom I adore. It's amazing to see her in love for the first time. She was never an affectionate person, but now I see her kissing and holding hands all the time. We now go to their house for Thanksgiving every year, including both sets of our parents, divorced and remarried, and her wife's dad. She also went back to school for a career in medicine and her education has exposed her to a lot of the BS she encountered in church. She was way more open-minded and happier than I've ever known her to be. My younger sister is gay. It honestly caught everyone completely by surprise. She had a very serious boyfriend all through HS, and after she graduated went through a big nasty breakup with him when he basically threw a fit about the idea of her moving away for college. Dude was a loser who was working at Burger King and had little no ambition to improve himself or his life. So anyways, she ended up not being able to attend the school due to financial difficulties. I had just graduated from college myself and invited her down to float the river with me and my friends. I felt like a complete butthole retard because I had literally just finished explaining this big boy drama story to one of my best friend's girlfriend when my sister shows up with her new girlfriend. I was a little annoyed because I had only planned on having one person come with us and the addition of her GF totally threw the logistics of the day out of whack. She came up to me, visibly nervous, and asked if I was upset that she had come out. What? Oh, that number. I don't care at all. You're my sister. I just gotta figure out who Megan is gonna drive down to the river with now. 4 years later and they are married now. The best reaction was undoubtedly with my very conservative, but also genuinely wonderful people. Grandparents from Iowa. My grandma and grandpa reacted to the news with the world's most awesome amount of so what, and it was never even treated like an issue. When Oregon struck down the gay marriage ban recently, my grandma left the most adorable 2-minute long, absolutely ecstatic voicemail on my sister's phone. TLDR. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody cared. When I was 4 or so, crap you not, I paraded around the house in my mom's slips and high heels, and I loved Cher, Whitney, and Britney. My parents knew I was gay before I even knew what gay meant. We really are born this way, I promise. I danced around in one of my sister's dresses and rolled around on the floor to Britney Spears. This was because my parents let me. I also snuck away with the JCPenney catalog and put my dong on the lady's boobs because it felt good. I'm not gay, but I'm pretty sure doing silly things like wearing women's clothing or liking girly music isn't a precursor to being gay. Yes, I did. I tried to teach him how to cover his tracks online, but I guess incognito mode is too confusing when there are naked hotties to peruse. My brother-in-law didn't realize his aunt was gay. She's a very stereotypical middle-aged lesbian. She lives with her partner and has for many years. This friend comes with her to all family events, weddings, funerals, holidays, etc. She isn't super out and proud with some of the family because they had a Polish Catholic upbringing. I casually mentioned something about her at dinner one night, and apparently that was when he finally learned about it. My brother-in-law is in his 20s. It was fun to watch his whole world shift a little more into place while I ate my salad. My sister is gay. I always knew. When she came out to me, she was crying because she thought I wouldn't love her anymore. That freaking broke my heart. I let her know that I've known for a long time and that I still love her no matter what. My kid is too young to tell, but I have known multiple people who were obviously gay. Friend of a friend always loved Bratz dolls among other clues. His parents denied it. He's now the gayest guy I have ever met. Cousin-in-law was very clearly gay. Just everything about him was and is flamboyantly gay. Again, parents pretended otherwise. He finally came out. Thankfully everyone was cool with it. He is now twice as gay. Family friend came out to his mum. Very scared about it when he did apparently. She just laughed and told him it wasn't exactly a secret. I've known for a long time. I'm only 17 and I can still remember this boy Skylar from my elementary school, but I had always looked at boys before I looked at a girl. When my dad, who was kinda a perv, would drive past a woman and say look at her, I just would play it off. I think that was his first hint that I was different. I've just never had the courage or desire to come out to him. I kinda see a social norm that he hopes I conform to. My mother however asked me, are you gay? If you are, it's okay, there is nothing wrong with that, and I laughed and told her no, but as soon as I could I went to my room and cried. Gay male here in person who raised a gay male cousin. My family said they always knew I was gay. The biggest tip-off was that I never talked about girls, and that I never responded to when you grow up and find a woman you love, but you responded to find a person you love. I played the big brother and close friend to one of my younger cousins. I knew that boy was gay for the moment I met him, around 6. He also doesn't respond to questions like any girls you like. He denies liking any, but the way he said it sounds much like the way I did when he was around 12. It was so blatantly obvious when he woke up from a bad nightmare and wanted to sleep with me in bed because he didn't seem scared at all. Anyways, we just went to sleep, so nothing inappropriate happened, at least not while I was awake. But anyways, the next morning, while still waking up in bed, I just blatantly told him that if he ever needed someone to talk to, I'd listen, and that I cared for him. LGBTQ youth have a high suicide rate, and that if he ever wanted to fool around that he should make sure he's doing it safely. Condom use so low in LGBTQ males. He asked why I was saying that and I said that I was gay, and he just lit up so happy. Then we spent the whole morning talking in code about boyfriends and pretty much everything else teenage boys would talk about after not being able to talk about them for years. When my son was little, he wanted to do everything his big sister did. This included dressing up in all the princess outfits. I had a couple friends ask me if I was worried it would turn him gay. Sigh. I replied that I really wanted a gay son because that would mean I would always be the only girl in his life and wouldn't have any competition. And I'd get a gay son-in-law to shop with. Yes, I horrified those poor uninformed people. And my son isn't gay, at 15 now, but really, it would have been cool. He jokes I'm disappointed he's straight. Turn him gay. It just makes me shake my head and sigh. And BTW, my kids are still really tight. I'm a very lucky mom. My kids are still really tight. Well, that's good to know. Best save that for marriage. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I am currently observing friends' absolutely clueless behavior in regards to their 16 years old son. I have wondered if the boy was gay for several years and he is now very quiet when his blustery, bull in a china shop father mentions girls around him. His best friend is a girl who the parents adore and insist that he's going to marry someday. I have a feeling that one of these days the boy might need some help with his parents. The wrench. They're extremely Christian. Yep. The silence when discussing girls is our way of telling you without having to actually tell you. Super awkward. My cousin is gay. I'm a year younger and I knew for certain when we were 7 or 8 years old. The whole family has known since he was really young. I don't think he even bothered officially coming out. But I know the first big family event that he brought his boyfriend to must have been terrifying. Everyone was completely indifferent except his father, who was raised in a very Catholic family and is a huge homophobe. But he's also gay, we're quite positive. So, poor guy, he must be miserable never being able to admit something like that. For what it's worth, my little brother is gay and we pretty much knew since he was very young. He was much less violent than me and my other little brother were. He made friends with girls very easily but not so much with boys and showed at least a little interest in typically girly activities and toys when he was young. It could have been he was just effeminate and straight but that wasn't the case. The first time he came out to his female best friend, I was in the room next door. We all shared a house at uni. She yelled it to me and I yelled back, "Told you so." I only feel sad that it took him so long to come out and it breaks my heart a bit that he ever felt pressured by it. My sister is also gay and we had suspected that from a young age. Also, very tomboyish, which has actually lessened significantly over time. I came out to my mother last year, the night before I moved to university. I awkwardly confronted her in the kitchen. "Mum, I've got something to tell you." "It's okay, I know." Then we spent the rest of the night talking about cute guys. It went well. For some stupid reason I interpreted came out as born. You know, like came out of the womb, and I thought the question was more like mothers. Could you tell your gay child was gay while you were pregnant? Well, I immediately thought that's the world's weirdest question and there is no way in heck that Reddit will answer that without flipping their crap, and as I clicked on it I realized what a freaking moron I am. Got to one-up my parents when I came out the closet. When I sat them down my mom said, "You're gay aren't you?" Then I said, "No, I'm transgender." If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.